Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we are going to talk about movie theater apocalypse, the situation with the current, the possibility of the death of the entire movie theater industry, because that's really where we're at. The reason why I'm aware of this is I follow the movie theater industry. I specifically follow the box office for each week. So, for the last 20 years, I have checked out the box office numbers for each, weekend, the same way a football fan would watch scores, right? And that has put me in contact with a number of movie reviewers who really cover the industry. And so the best movie reviewers really talk about the money as well, and they're aware of the whole situation that is happening for these films. And it's really, quite fascinating. So, and basically before the 2020 pandemic came out, people would not shut up about, is the movie industry going to die? And that's when they were making more money every single year than they had the last, right? So movie theaters have had this issue where less people were going to the movies, right? But they were always finding ways to continue to have a healthy industry and to make money, right? And so the movie theater industry has always been healthy until 2020, right? But there was this concern that it would be in peril. Well, here we are, box checked, right? The entire movie industry, theater industry is in peril. It's really, really and I'm terrified of this because I just, I see 2 to 3 movies a month, when we're not in the middle of a pandemic, and I'm just the biggest movie fan. I love it. It's just so important to me, right? And so it's just really critical, and it's important to me, right? So with all that said, I want the theaters to continue, right? But here we are, right? And the biggest thing that's happened recently is Warner Brothers announced that literally a slate of close to 20 theatrical releases would have zero theater days. They would take the window of exclusivity for films going to theaters to zero, and they would release their movies on their streaming service the same day they went to theaters, as taking the window for theatrical release to zero. This has never been done, ever, right? Not not with an entire year's worth of movies, right? So it's unprecedented. So with that said, I've been thinking about this, and I think there's a possibility, and I have a new hope, right? There's a way that the movie theaters could be saved, right? So the first thing is, and I've already talked about this, we actually need a $52 billion bailout for the movie theater industry. That ain't gonna happen, right? It's not even on any of our leader, of the U.S. It's not on the U.S. president's map, not the current one or the next one, right? So there's no one's coming to save the movie theater industry from the government. Nobody, right? We already know this. Now, just so you're aware, Britain already did this. They gave a $2 billion bailout for their movie theater industry, and that's in a what was your last favorite British movie? I don't know. I don't even know if I can mention even think of a British film that I went to see recently, right? So whatever, right? So but for that almost non-existent British movie industry, there was a $2 billion bailout. For the American movie industry, which has been around for 100 years and outpaces the entire world, right? There's $0, right? So what can happen? What can save the movie theater industry? Here you go, right? There are a lot of movie producing companies out there, right? So there are movie producers; those are people who work individually. But there are movie producing companies, and there are movie studios, right? Smaller ones, right? That maybe only put out 1 or 2 movies a year, or indie movie producing companies, indie movie studios, right? And what they can do is they can inverse it. They can inverse the Warner Brothers announcement and say, listen, we have, maybe one or two movies in the can, right? And we're planning on making one or two, or we're going to accelerate our movie production, right? And say we're promising to release 3 to 5 movies this year, and we are declaring that 0 of them will go to any streaming service. All of them will only be viewable in the theaters, right? Now, I know you're like, well, wait, Scott, isn't that dangerous? Well, these movie studio, whichever movie studio, and I hope 2 or 3 different movie studios do this, will say is, listen, we've been paying attention, right? And the movie theater industry has been very aware of the 2020 pandemic and has made extraordinary strides to make sure their movie theaters stay safe. And our movies will be going into movie theaters that have made all of the suggested safety recommendations, which would be increased cleaning, right, and socially distanced seating, right, and a whole host of other methods that the industries have used to make their theaters safe. And they're saying, and then in addition, they would say, the government and the CDC is doing everything they can to make sure that everybody's safe. We, as movie studios, are doing what we can to make sure there will be an industry that survives this pandemic, because the government is not going to make sure that one of the casualties of COVID is not the movie theater industry, and that's not right. This is a century-old American tradition, and without a doubt, right, movies are part of people's mental health, right? So, from the perspective of civil safety and the safety of American citizens, this really, this needs to be done by at least some movie studios. So, I think that'd be a great way to kind of flip everything on its head and say, we absolutely need to be concerned with the safety of citizens, but we also need to be concerned with the safety of industries, right? We can't just stand by and watch casualties on both sides, right? Somebody needs to stand up for this incredibly important aspect that really is part of many people's mental health today. So if we as a nation are really truly taking mental health seriously, we can't allow this industry to die. It's not right? So that's my opinion. What do you think? Do you think that's a good idea or a bad idea? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.